Another example I wanted to show you, because the first two examples between Pixar and DreamWorks, they're interesting because they change quite a lot, between the master and the shot lighting, and I thought it was interesting to show you this. And now I'm going to show you something very different. It's on the Secret Life of Pets, and I've been working on this master for 2 weeks, and I'll show you here the master as it is on 3 different shots, and there is actually no shot lighting on these 3 shots. Okay, so basically you take the master lighting, okay, you plug it into this shot, and you will get this result, and this result by default. Okay, now this images, of course, there's a bit of compositing, but I can tell you that it was not too far away from the lighting. Okay, so it's just to show you that there's really 2 ways of thinking this. There is one, some studios who like to fiddle a lot in shot lighting, and some studios who are really conservative about the master because they don't want to break continuity. Okay, so we're going to talk about this today, like continuity and stuff like that. Okay, but it was just to show you that there's really 2 ways of thinking about this. After Pets, I moved to Australia to work on Lego Batman, and it's the exact opposite of Illumination, and I thought it was really interesting. On Lego Batman, almost every shot is a master on its own. Okay, basically, so it's lots of freedom given to the artist. They don't care so much about continuity. Sometimes it can give some issues. Okay, but it's really freeing to work this way because you really want to push every single shot as best as you can. So just to show you, this is the master I've been doing on Lego Batman. Okay, this as well is more or less 2 weeks. 2 weeks of work, of refining. Of course, Grant and Craig, the supervisor, were helping me on this. And this just to show you, the shot lighting after this. So I didn't light this shot. Okay, it was given to someone else, of the team. But just to show you, the difference in volumetrics. Okay. On mine, it's pretty soft, it's pretty subtle. And then when I see this, of course, the first time I was a bit shocked, wow, volumetrics are really strong on this one. Do we really want to go this way? And it's, it's just a way of thinking the images, I came from a background, I just spent 3 years at Illumination. So I was really conservative between the relationship between master and shot. And Animal is not working at all this way, and I think it's really interesting. The liberty, the creative liberty they take on every shot. Same thing for here. You see, there is a desaturated rim, on the left screen of Batman. And it's like, it was not part of the master. They added this rim on a shot basis. And and I was like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not sure about it, but actually, they are just doing their job, making every shot look as good as we can. Okay. And same thing here. And here, it's kind of crazy if you look at it, because if you look, they change the temperature, the color of the lights. If you look at this, it's red and green, when mine was more like orange and blue, and you're really breaking the rules here. And this is why I think it is so interesting, how far can we push shot lighting, and how creative freedom can we have on a shot basis, So I thought it was really interesting to compare, all these studios and how they work between master and shot lighting. So the example I'm going to show you. Today, it's about a night bar. Okay, apparently it's still lagging for some people. I'm not sure what I can do. So I'll just keep going. Shout if it's unbearable, and just let me know. So it's an example of a night bar. Okay, it's inspired by a video game scene. Very simple setup. No scatter, no fur, no scripting. It's really nothing fancy at all. It's just a couple of alembics in a scene with a mid-gray shader. Okay, so which leads us to the first question we have, is the mid-gray issue. Okay, what will be a proper linear mid-gray value? Okay, so I have updated the chapter 1 of my book with a couple of super boring paragraphs about mid-gray, but just a spoiler, 0.18 is the answer. Okay, in the previous version of my book, I was more about 0.214. I've rewritten this chapter. It's 0.18 is a good linear mid-gray value. I've been checking this with Doug Walker from Autodesk, so we should be good here. Color management, of course, my favorite topic for the past 2 years. I only work in ACs, and you really kind of should, in my opinion, okay? So as well, a massive update on chapter 1 about color management, and this is what I've really been learning for the last week. In a linear workflow, a simple sRGB display is wrong, okay? On the internet, 90% of articles written about linear workflow will tell you that sRGB display or Gamma 2.2 display is okay. It's not. It's really not okay. So the chat of today is not about color management. It's not about ACs. So everything is in the book, but I really wanted to emphasize that because most of the school and students work with a sRGB display, and it's kind of killing me. So just spread the word, okay? So the night bar, what is it about? 2 characters sitting at a table and having an argument, okay? Very simple set, 2 chairs and 1 table inside a box, okay? Nothing fancy. I suck at modeling. 2 free characters I found on the internet, the Mary Project, okay, you can download it for free, and Zoma from Sony Pictures Animation, you can also download it for free if you are into animation, okay. I already did a daylight setup in chapter 5 about it, okay, so I thought it was, only, worth it to take a look at the night setup. So this is what the scene looks like, so it's a bit empty. It's nothing fancy. There's no set dressing really. I did this on my own. So, just, be tolerant about it. Thank you. So we have this big window, with a couple of buildings on the outside on one side. And we have this bar with these bottles on the other side. And this is supposed to be a door. It's not supposed to be a massive hole. It's supposed to be a door. And these are the 4 shots, okay? So we start with a close-up where the protagonist explains her ID, okay? We got this shot, okay, where the antagonist is basically disagrees with her, okay? Here they're starting to have an argument and they're talking about it, okay? And this is the final shot where they're just looking at each other and and not knowing exactly what to do, okay? Because they don't agree on this conversation. So, pretty simple, but hopefully it illustrates properly some lighting principle I believe in. Okay, lighting principle, it's chapter 6 in my book, if you don't know about it. So, I try to gather in one scene, okay, one scene guide, one example, the following topics: continuity. Can we tweak the lights between shots? Differences between master and shot lighting, complementary schemes, and volumetrics and depth of field, okay? So references, okay, we should always start with references, okay? I spent 2 days on the night setup, without any references, and I just put all my work to the trash, okay? Too much ego there, too much ego. I really thought I was, this kind of super lighter. Yes, I can do this without any references. This night lighting, it's easy for me, not at all, okay? So I just lost 2 days on this setup. Basically my stuff was really looking bad. I was trying to mix colors, blend them, trying some kind of futuristic lighting. Was not working. So I just started from scratch, and I found these references. Okay, so I love movies, I love cinema. When it comes to look at references, I really suck. I really got lucky, but the first scene of the Social Network movie is exactly what I'm looking for, okay? 2 people looking at each other, arguing in a bar, okay? And this really helped me, okay? I can really tell you that these references saved this light trick, okay? Without these references, I probably wouldn't have been able to deliver anything. Okay, so a couple of things about these references, okay? I've done this picture just to show you, how can we analyze light on a reference and how many lights, have been used on the character, okay? And there are 3 lights on this character. So the key light, the fill light, which is also called wrap lighting, okay? We'll talk about that later, and the rim light, okay? The core, it's not a light. The core, it is a part where no direct lighting is affecting the character. Okay? Same thing here. This was a lifesaver for me. Very interesting. We have opposite light direction on both characters. Okay, that is very interesting. When I lost 2 days on this setup by night, I could not think about this. Okay, for me it's like, okay, I have one light direction for the same for both characters. Not at all. Okay, let's go back to the original frame. It's check the faces. Look at this beautiful lighting. It's a side lighting in some way, and it's two different directions, two lights to get this impression. Okay, so this was really helpful. All right. So master lighting. I'll start by showing you the master light ring. So just a couple of notes on this. One beauty pass. Okay, as you already know, I'm a big fan of this. No layering at all. Even volumetrics, even depth of field. Anyway, it's just a test I do at home, so I don't need, to worry about what I'm, publishing or delivering to a compositing artist. So one beauty pass, everything in it. There's no comp, it's direct. All the images you're gonna see are straight from Guerrilla render. Okay, exact same light rig on 4 shots. Okay, and no light linking. Okay, so just to be clear about this, okay? I like to work this way, okay? It's very personal, okay? If you like to do light linking, if you like to do layering, if you like to do your depth of field in comp, that's fine. That's absolutely fine, okay? So I'm not telling you to do this, okay? I'm just saying that after 15 years of, in the industry, I've kind of reached, this conclusion, and maybe, in 2 years I'll change my mind. Right now, I like Guerrilla because it allows me to work this way. And what does that mean? It means that I can push my lighting as much as I can inside Guerrilla. Okay, so I'm not telling you should do this, not at all. I'm just telling you I like to do this. I'll try to explain why. If you disagree, that I'm more than happy to discuss it with you. Okay. So this is the master lighting of the first shot. Okay. So this is what I got using the references from the social network. I'm going to show you the second shot. Okay, so I'm not happy with the look, the street lights. They're supposed to be street lights behind the characters. They don't look very good. It's just, I suck at modeling, so I just put some spheres here and there. But just to show you, this is the master rig on the second shot. This is the master rig on the third shot, okay, which is kind of the same axis as the first shot, okay, it's the same axis, so it's pretty easy. And this is the final white shot with the same master rig, okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna jump to Guerrilla just to show you a bit how it works. I'm not going to send any render because basically my computer is so shitty that I don't want to trouble more the streaming, but let's just show you a bit how I've been working. Okay, so this is the scene in Guerrilla. Okay, this is I have hand animated this. I have exported the Olympics myself. Okay, so this is the bar and how it looks. Okay, and you can see I love area lights. Okay, so it's pretty much area lights everywhere. Okay. The camera, it's this blue thing here, okay, and one thing that you can notice that is pretty cool is there is absolutely no light in this area, okay, because generally we don't want to fill the characters too much, we don't want them to lose contrast. So if you noticed, most of the lights come from the sides or directly in the camera axis, okay, so there are 30 lights in this light rig, okay, and what I do is I use cone shaders on this area lights, okay. So what is a cone shader? It's a pretty, it's called light filter in many other softwares, okay. In Guerrilla it's called shader. So basically it's right there, you can create a cone and it's basically behave like a spotlight, okay, and there's not so many people who actually know this, but a spotlight is nothing more than a point light with a cone shader, okay? And all the software, they have combine this in one entity, but actually, if you think about it, the conch filter is something that you should be able to put on any light, okay? And I really try to split both things in my mind, okay? So this is the rig, and if you will see, if I put this in wireframe, if I change frames, okay, if I go to the last frame, you will see something I should have said is I have the 4 shots in the same scene. Okay, we never do this in production. I only do this because I'm at home and I find it easier. Okay, but just to tell you, I have the 4 shots in the same scene. And what's happening here is pretty easy. The camera is moving. Okay, the blue thing is moving, but the lights are not there. So there's no animation whatsoever, no tweak of light. It is the exact same light rig everywhere. Okay. Now I'm going to detail a bit the lights one by one, so you can see a bit what they're doing, and I'll show you their position in Guerrilla. Okay. So this master lighting, it's 5 days of work. Okay, so it's actually a lot of work and quite difficult to figure it out. Counter change. If you've read my book, you know about counter change. Okay, it's in chapter 6, the lighting principles. We'll come back to counter change later, but it really helped me to focus on a visual goal and what I wanted to achieve in terms of visually and artistically. Okay, I don't want to bullshit you. Lots of tests, lots of failures, lots of go back to find correct direction, exposure, and so I really want to be honest with you. I didn't make this master very easily. Okay, it takes time. I really sweat on this. It's a complicated exercise. Okay, and I only use Nuke to play with LPE, light path expressions. Okay, and I'll show you how later on. Okay, so natural lights. Okay, if you've read the chapter 4, you know there are 3 categories of lights. Okay, and these systems I kind of came up with. It comes from my experience at different studios. First category are natural lights, and I really do not want to do any another blue moon day for night, nuit américaine in French, because I've been doing this for the past 15 years. Okay, so there will be no natural lights in this master lighting. Okay, I don't want to do this. I could do, if someone asked me to, and hey, can I have a blue cartoonish lighting, from the moon in this shot? But in this particular exercise, I'm not going for it. So I jump straight to category number 2, practical lights. And which are what are they? They are luminous objects actually present in the scene and visible on camera. Okay, and so what I did create some area lights mapped with an IES. Okay, I'll show you what is an IES later, and this is exactly what I'm looking for. So just have a look at this. This is what someone may call set lighting. Even if there is no light linking at all, okay, the lights are affecting everything, characters included, okay. And what is doing the IES? It's doing this. You see the impact on the floor. You see there is a pattern, okay, and this is good. We want this. Why do we want a pattern? Otherwise, it just looks, too simple, okay. It just looks too simple. It just looks too poor, okay, too minimalist. And so this is why I use IES. So IES in Guerrilla, what is it? Very simple. It is a light shader. Okay. Some softwares may call it, light filters. Okay. In Guerrilla, it's called light shader. So if I select this area light, okay, which is the one we have just seen right next to the African mask. Okay. This is an area light. Okay, what do? IES here, okay, and I just load this IES. Okay, where do I find IES? It's all over internet, available for free on the websites from Philips, and all these brands making lamps. Okay, so you can see here, I don't have any modeling of lamp, okay, because I'm too lazy. So I just put my area lights. And I put it, this is really important for practical lighting, okay? I put it where it physically should be, okay? So here we could definitely say, okay, there might be a lamp against this wall. So here it's a no-brainer for me. I just put the area light next to the wall. It's projecting the IES and it's doing this nice pattern here, okay? Yes, not Philips with an S, exactly. So here, Someone may say, yeah, but the characters look very dark. This is good. This is what we want, okay? This is exactly what we want, okay? We're gonna have a look at this. Once again, no light linking. The IES lights are affecting the characters, but this is good they are dark. And why this is good? Because it will give us some space for dramatic lighting, okay? Most of dramatic lighting is about character lighting, okay? And when I see this, I know I am in a pretty good place, okay? Because I'm happy with the way the set looks, okay? I have some pretty nice bokeh here. We'll see the setup for the bokeh, okay, later on. And you know, only this frame, okay? This frame is not working. Why it is not working? It's way too dark, okay? When I compare with this, okay? When I compare with this, you know, I know like this here, I'm gonna have to do a tweak per shot, okay? I don't think there is a way to fix this shot in the master lighting without breaking the other shots, okay? So I know that this one, I will have to do a tweak on a shot basis, okay? Just one thing here, you see the line here, it's very interesting for the composition because the line is guiding the eye of the viewer to the face of the character, okay? So it's just a nice composition and the light is helping to guide the eye, okay? So we have seen quickly, I'm sorry guys, I'm not going to trigger any render, I'm just too scared it's gonna lag or break my computer, but just so you see all these little area lights here, they have IES here, okay? And it's, imagine you are in a bar or a nightclub, okay, and you have maybe a bartender, the bartender needs to see where the bottles are so he can give you a drink. So, you know, I just put, it's physical, okay? Maybe, you know, if I had more time, I would model, you know, a neon, you know, a proper lamp physically, and I will change this. But right now, I'm just putting an area light exactly where it should be, where the object should be, okay, with the IES. And this light here is very important because it's giving me the bokehs we have seen earlier. Something as well I wanted to tell you is this here has been left in shadows on purpose, okay? It's not logical, it's not logical. Why would the lights be turned on here and not here, okay? The bartender, he needs to see all the bottles. I don't want that. I want this to be in shadow and I'll show you why later, okay? So basically, I have lit my set with practical lights, okay, using IES. It gives me rich and interesting impacts, okay? Let's move to dramatic lights now. So it's what are dramatic lights? Okay, they are studio lights to enhance reality. Okay, please remember this. Reality is boring. Okay, we don't want to do documentaries. We want to do proper cinématographie. Okay, so we need to enhance reality. In French, it's magnifier. On veut magnifier la réalité. So, but what do they need, these lights? They need the practical lighting to justify their motivation, okay? If I just put a strong key on my character and there is nothing on the set, it will look weird. So we first start with the practical lights, which are kind of logical, you know, and accurate, and then this gives me a justification for my dramatic lighting. So you may know all these terms, key, fill, wrap, rim, bounce. All of these are dramatic lights, okay? They are not natural, they are not practical, they are dramatic lights, okay? And we need them. We need them to give shape, to guide the viewer's eyes, basically do our job, okay? We need them. So I'll start with the key lights. Best definition I have ever found. It is the main shaping light, okay? This comes from the Khan Academy, you know, on YouTube, the one from Pixar, okay? So yeah, it's so it means, what does it mean? It means it's not necessarily the strongest light, okay? It is the main shaping light, and so it's not exactly the same thing. You know what I mean? You can have a stronger light than the key, okay? But that will do less shaping, okay? So this is why I like so much this definition. It's really accurate. I agree with you. 90% of the time, the strongest light is the key. Okay, 90% of the time. But if we want to be accurate, the key light is the main shaping light, okay? And this is my key light on the character, okay? And this is how I get the most shaping on her head, okay? Sorry, just checking my text. Okay, yeah. I've seen the answer from Jean-Michel. I just answer it now. I don't think it's slowing down my render. To be honest, I haven't done any benchmark. You know, I just want to go for this brute force rendering stuff. So I agree with Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. I would not worry too much about it. And honestly, it's like I need IES to make it look good. You know, otherwise, what can I do? Maybe I do a gobo and I spend 2 days on it and it doesn't look good. So I don't worry about it. I just put the IES. Render times are fine. We'll see about render times later. But so yeah, I would just go for it. Okay. So yeah, I just keep on with the key lights. Okay, main shaping light, and this is how it looks on every frame. And you can see here that there's something wrong. Okay, this shot is fine. This shot is fine. This shot is fine. And you can see here that the key lights are not good enough. Okay, and how do I know that? I know that because it looks so different from this. Okay, and remember, I have not tweaked the light. Okay, it's the same key light everywhere. Okay, but I already know just by looking at this that I will have to tweak the shot here, tweak the key lights, obviously. Okay, just by looking at this. So really, some students ask me this question, you know, and yes, like, should we check the lights one by one? Yes, you should do this. Otherwise, how can you tell if the key light is doing its proper job, you know, on every shot? It's impossible, okay? So, and then, of course, you have to combine them all together, so your beauty render looks good, and everything is well balanced, and this is why I always go from checking my lights one by one, and then checking the result of all of them, okay? I switched to wrap lighting, okay? So most people call it fill light. I actually prefer the term wrap lighting because it comes from Roger Deakins. And what does it do? It helps to soften the transition between the key and the core, okay? Remember the core, it is a part of shadow. So you can see here on the first frame, you see the half of her face is in shadow, okay? And this is going to look too dark. It's going to look too hard, you know, very harsh. So we need the wrap lighting to soften this, okay? And on the character's face, we generally do not want harsh shadows. Please pay attention. I say generally, okay? If you are lighting like a super bad guy, okay? Maybe you want a harsh shadow. I don't know, okay? I'm not telling you do not do harsh shadows. I'm just telling you that in most cases, because I work in cartoon stuff, we want soft lighting on the faces, okay? But you can definitely try harsh shadow. Maybe your story asked for it, okay? So this is the wrap lighting, okay? So generally what we do, it's a bit front lit, it's lower in exposure, and it's a bit more saturated, okay? That's the kind of the recipe for the wrap lighting, okay? And you can see here, okay, I have turned the direction a bit, the rotation, so it's wrapping the face, and it will help to do this soft transition on their faces, okay? If I go back to Garia, I'll show you just the position. So I'll go probably to this frame. So this frame, it is a close-up shot, okay? I'm going to look here and let me see if I know my rig correctly or not. This is the key, okay, of the girl, of Mary, and I suppose this is the fill. Yes, this is the fill, okay? So the key come from the side, okay? It's kind of side lighting, okay? It is quite strong. You see the size of the area. I kind of want sharp shadows on this, and this is the fill. Much bigger lights. Look at this, much bigger light, okay? It's twice bigger because I want soft shadows for the fill. It's very important, okay? So this is the wrap lighting, okay? I'll move on. Rim lighting. Rim light gives shape by outlining, okay? And generally faces the camera. Some artists call it kick light. It's kind of the same thing, really. I don't know the exact difference about them. If you know it, please tell me. I would be interested, okay? This is the rim light. Okay, so remember the references from social network. Okay, I remember how I, analyzed it, and so there were like 3 lights on Jesse and Eisenberg, and this is the rim light. You see the shoulders. I'm really matching closely to the social network. Okay, same thing here. Okay, there is a rim for the zombie, and zombie is called Zoma, and you see here the strong impact on the shoulder. Okay, so here you see here definitely there will be an issue. You see how the foreground is backlit. I mean, it's backlit, is front lit actually. This is an issue. This doesn't look good. Okay, generally, once again, I use the word generally. We want the foreground to be dark and contrasty. Okay, generally, most of the time. You could do a picture where it's very bright. I don't know, but generally for this kind of setup, we want why do we want it dark and contrasty? because I want the eye of the viewer to go to Mary's face. Okay, I don't want the eye of the viewer to go to the zombie's back. The zombie's back is boring. Okay, it's useless. I don't want the viewer to watch at the zombie's back. I want the viewer to look at Mary. So I know for a fact, I know for sure that I will put the zombie in darkness when I do shot lighting. Okay, right now master lighting is working fine. I cannot improve this on master lighting. Okay. And this is the rim lights in the master lighting. There is definitely room for improvement here. We will see about that later. Why is there room for improvement? It's not affecting the face. You see this, the rim on the hair. It's not very interesting, right? It's kind of boring. We could have here a really nice outlining of the face. You know, there is a nice modeling and shape here, okay? So I know that I will tweak the rim light as well on this shot, okay? Top light, okay, so one of my favorite tricks, I talk about it in chapter 7. So what does it do? It helps to give shape to a character, and it looks very natural because most of the lights on Earth come from above. The sky, the sun is always above us. When you take the subway, the light is above you, okay? If you want to do something scary or unnatural, you light from the bottom, because it looks very unnatural, okay? And this is why the top light is very interesting, because it comes from the top, it looks natural, okay? So it's very soft, okay? Maybe you don't see much here. I will jump to another frame, you see? But it's just doing this kind of, very soft shaping on the characters, and it's just helping a bit, to give a bit more shape, okay? Volumetric lights. Okay, sorry, I lied before. I have a couple of lights with light linking. They are the volumetric light, okay? I don't want them to light the geometry, only the volumetric box in my scene, okay? And they help for composition, they create depth, and even cover some issues. I can tell you for a fact that I have worked on some productions where heavy volumetric effects were used to cover geometry issues, penetration issue, etc., etc. So it's a win-win for everybody. It looks good and it helps to work faster. Okay. So this is the light for the volumetric on the first frame, on the second frame, on the third frame. You see there is a ray of light behind her, and this is on the wide shot. Okay. We'll talk about the city light rig a bit later. I'm trying, just to keep a fast pace here, but I'll explain what I try to achieve, okay? So just to show you quickly, because someone asked me this week about volumetric and how do I work and what kind of setup do I use. I will pass it right away. Okay, I have a question from Ryan about volumetrics, so let's answer this. Are volumetrics placed in right away, or do you wait to put them in later to keep rendering quick? So, okay, in production, generally we have layering, okay? We split the beauty from the volumetric pass, okay? So, because, volumetric rendering, let's face it, it's a bit tricky, it takes time and stuff like that. So generally we split them, okay? Between beauty pass and volumetric pass. I generally start my lighting with the volumetric setup already done. Okay, so I don't have, because let's say I do a lighting. Okay, I do a lighting, only the beauty. Only the geometry. Okay, I don't care about volumetrics. I'm happy with the result. Okay, then I put my volumetrics. Okay, I do the setup, and it looks like crap because maybe the lights don't react the way I want. Okay, so I don't do this. Okay, hey Matteo, what's up? Okay, so. So I rather start from the with the final setup from the beginning. Okay, by final setup I mean beauty and volumetrics from the beginning, so I know exactly what my lights are doing inside the volumetrics. Maybe it's a bit of waste of render times. I totally agree with you. Maybe I could save some render time by just adding the volumetric in the end. But we'll explain later why I don't care about render times, okay? But so no, I start from the scratch because it's part of the look, okay? Volumetrics, you will see in these shots, are very important for the look. So I cannot, build my my lighting. I cannot build my image Yeah, alors, okay, Ryan, yeah, I see your second answer. Alors, by default, I try to have everything affecting everything. By default, okay? And generally, I realize like it's a bit tricky to do that. So generally, I kind of remove my lights from the volumetric whenever I need to. I don't, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the key from the zombie. The key, you see, for example, this is the key for the zombie. It's affecting the geometry and the volume. Okay. So here there's no light linking. If you look at the key from Mary, okay, it's affecting the lights and the volume. Okay. Okay, there is a question from Vincent. Hi Vincent, square light but not disc for the change. Okay, so so I clearly remember I told you during the masterclass in October that we generally try to use disc area lights to change it right there. So you have a round reflection in the eyes, okay? And this is a nice trick I've learned at elimination. And so what's happening in this scene, Vincent? I only have mid-gray shaders, okay? I don't have any proper shader on the eyes, okay? So I don't really care about the disc light in this setup, okay? But you're probably right, okay? If I had proper shaders and setup for the eyes, maybe I'll switch, to disc light, so I get the nice round reflection in the eyes. I don't know. Maybe actually I should test. Give me a couple of weeks and I'll try probably and come back to you with that. But that's a proper comment. So thank you for asking. Okay, so we were talking about volumetrics. We were talking. Sorry about that. Yeah, so volumetric, just to show you. So this is my my template in Garia. Okay, so I have this volumetric box, and I just want to show you. This is my volumetric box. It's huge. Okay, I don't want to be cheap. I don't want to be cheap, so I just do a big box, surrounding the whole scene. I really want these background buildings, they're just cubes, but they're buildings to be in the volumetric. So yeah, I do this big box, and here I have my small setup, where it's taking this volumetric shader, and everything is going into the beauty path. I'm not using this volumetric path because I want everything in there. And here I do my trace and my lighting. So you see here it's a pretty simple setup for the template. Okay. I'll show you the render graph a bit later. It's just we've been talking for almost an hour. So yes, finally coming to the real topic of this chat, shot lighting. Thanks for your patience. So I have tweaked the lights per shot, okay, to improve the look. So what do I generally tweak? Exposure, okay? Lights can be stronger, or weaker, depending on the shots. Of course, I tweak their position, their rotation. Okay, we can totally translate them between shots, and you can, of course, turn them on and off. No problem to do that. Okay, and I didn't put it in the slide, but on Lego Batman, we even tweak colors per shot. Okay, I know this is a bit shocking maybe to some people, but we did it, and it worked. So why not? Maybe for special effect or something the shot is telling, okay? So let me show you the hopefully improvement between master lighting and shot lighting, okay? This is the master light rig, this is the shot light rig, okay? On this shot, I suffered a lot, okay? I did a lot of tests, I did a lot of experimentation. Many times I came back to the master light rig because I was not satisfied. Okay, so here there's two main changes, okay? It's softer on the face. Look at the mouth area, okay? The master here, you can have a line here. You see this line? We don't want this kind of line, okay? We want this. This is way softer, okay? Remember the sfumato technique by Da Vinci, okay? This is what I try to achieve, okay? Why do I do as well? I decrease the volumetric, okay? It was a bit too strong in the master. I decrease the volumetric so we can see the bokeh. Okay, I'm super proud about my bokeh. Garia is great with bokeh rendering, depth of field. So I want them to pop a bit more. And what did I do here? I did this, okay? And this is counter change, okay? It's just to alternate rhythms of shadow and light, okay? So when I have light in the background, I have shadow on the foreground. And vice versa. When I have shadow in the background, I have lights in the foreground, okay? And this technique, it's explained in chapter 6. I stole it from Spielberg on Bridge of Spies, okay? and it's very interesting because what does it do? It makes the character pop. It helps for the composition. Okay, so think about this. Think about counter change. Okay, it's a really good technique, guys. Okay. Here as well, this is the master lighting, this is shot lighting. So here you see plenty of changes, okay? And we should not be shy, okay, about doing changes in shot lighting. As long as it improves the shot, it's good, we're good to go, okay? So let's have a look at the master lighting here. You see, we don't see Mary's face at all. It's dark on dark. It's not good. We never want to do this, okay? I mean, sorry, I should not use the word never. Maybe you want to do this if a character hides in the dark. Yes, in this particular case, you want to do this. But in most cases, you want to make characters pop, okay? You want to give shape, okay? And this is how you give shape, okay? So here they are double counter change, okay? Because the face of Mary has a strong rim, okay? And look at this, the volumetric on the right, behind the zombie's face. Look at how it's popping now. So I have bright, it's the same thing. I have dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. Okay, and this gets interesting. Okay, and so keep this in mind. It's the funny thing about curtain change. I think I've been using it for maybe 10 years without knowing it. Okay, it was just instinct, pure instinct. Okay, the day I was able to put a name on this technique, it saved my life because now I can, communicate with some other ones and tell them about this technique, okay? So keep this in mind, okay? Really cool technique. Another technique, a bright object between two characters ties them together, okay? This is as well from Bridge of Spies, okay? From Spielberg, okay? You see here, it creates a visual connection between both characters, okay? So it's very interesting to put a bright light or a bright impact between two characters, okay? And it's in CG we are always scared about putting lights between the characters, like, oh, is it going to to disturb the viewer? Maybe it's too bright. No. On the contrary, put some lights behind the characters. You see this light behind his face? It's really helping the composition. Don't be shy about this, okay, guys? This is the third shot, the medium shot. So this is master lighting. This is shot lighting. So I told you before, the zombie has to be dark. I don't remove all the lights, okay? I keep a rim here because rims are nice. It gives volume and everything, okay? And it's and here you see the lighting on Mary's. It's a bit softer, okay? It's exactly the same thing I've done on the first shot, okay? So this is shot lighting, same here. And when we are light in the background, we have a shadow on the midground and vice versa. And remember, I told you this. I didn't put a light, okay? It would have been logical, yes, logical to put a light there, but I don't care about logic. I want this to look good. So this, I keep it dark. So here I have a very nice, contrast on her face. And normally, if I've done my job properly, your eye should go straight to her face, okay? If I've done my job correctly, let me know if your eye is going somewhere else, okay? So here I left this area in shadows on purpose and a bright object between two characters. So it's the same technique, bright object, you see visual connection, the line guide to her face, very interesting composition, okay? Master lighting, shot lighting, okay? This is maybe the shot where there is most improvement, okay? Mostly character lighting, okay? You can see I have changed the light's position to give here some nice shape here on her face, okay? And this is what we want to achieve. I have brightened as well this area here to accentuate the counter change, okay? So same here, where there is light, there is shadow, and when there is shadow, there is light, okay? This pattern is a bit more complex, but I'm still happy about it, okay? So two area lights to make this large wall interesting, a street light right behind the zombie to make it pop, and you see on the building, it's not a random thing. I really put this light on purpose, so it's visually behind its head, okay? The table could have been brighter, okay? Bright object between two characters together, and here, bright area behind Mary for counter change, okay? This is the volumetric has been added as well. Very helpful, this volumetric here, you see, because it's helping to have less contrast in the back. I struggled on this shot, guys. I really spent a lot of time trying a lot of things, and this volumetric really helped me, because it removes contrast from the background, okay? And yes, I am reflecting volumetrics, okay? Yes, it's good. It makes stuff richer and more interesting. So I'll just open quickly the shot scene, not the master scene, okay? Just to show you how the lights move between shots, okay? I'm not going to trigger any render because I'm really not confident that my internet connection can handle it. So okay, I will go to this frame, okay? We have the light rig, okay? And pay attention if I go to the last frame, okay? Boom, okay? This is what I do, okay, between shots, okay? So here, remember, we never do this in production, okay? Normally, each shot is a separated scene, okay? But for this example, I've combined everything, and you can tell I animate the lights, you see, every time I change the frame, because I want every shot to look as good as I can, okay? So, change of plan. Okay, so this, what I've just been showing you, master and shot lighting, it's 2 weeks of hard work. Honestly, I struggle, let's be honest. But what's the issue? I'm still not satisfied with the look, okay? I'm still not satisfied with the look. So clearly the lack of shading and texturing does not helping, but I feel like I'm missing an opportunity. What opportunity? Colors, okay? Everything is monochromatic, okay? And it's kind of, I don't know about it. There is shape and everything, but I'm not convinced. So I just spent 2 weeks. I'm still not happy with the result, okay? So I decided to take a break and watch a movie, okay? And I watched this amazing movie. It's all on my website. Okay, I've linked the movie and everything. It's called Wild Tales. Okay, and it's an Argentinian movie. Okay, and there is a short film. It's a series of short films. Actually, it's not a feature film. It's a series of short films. And the last short film is about a wedding, and they're using this orange and teal color scheme. Okay, which is a complementary scheme. And it's, yes, Wild Tales, thank you. And it's orange and teal is the most used complementary scheme in Hollywood, okay? What does it mean? It's orange and blue, okay? So it's super classic stuff, nothing revolutionary, but I don't feel confident enough to experiment. Colors is a very difficult topic. So maybe I'm too old, maybe I'm formatted by the industry, but I just go for the orange and teal. The movie I watched, so Wild Tales, has some orange and teals in it. So I took a break, watched the movie, helped me figure out the colors, and this is my final result. Okay? So quite a change from the social network references. Okay? But this is what I tell you right after is you have to keep an open mind. Okay? You start with a plan, and maybe the plan is changing along the way. You never know, okay? And I'm not sufficiently a good and confident artist to stick to my first intention. And I was not happy with the result anyway. So I just watched the movie, and this is what I came up with. Okay, pretty much saturated. Sorry about that. I worked on Lego Batman, which is basically the most saturated movie of the universe. So this is why I like color so much. And this is what I came up with. And here, I've used the techniques that I loved, okay? There's been an update in chapter 8 about it. In the volumetric section, I use the complementary colors between volumetric and beauty lighting, okay? So the volumetric is blue, but the character actually is warm, okay? Has some orange lights in it. And it's... thank you guys. And it's I know it's saturated and everything, and it's not very subtle, but it's just the way I light, okay? But just just to tell you this, it's not logical, why the volumetric light is blue and the character is orange, and it's I don't know, maybe there is a light in the back that is blue and not on the table. I don't know, but it looks good. And this is what I'm looking for, okay? I want this to look good. So yes, complementary colors in volumetric, that's a good thing. Yes, thank you, Ryan. Very interesting comment. Thank you for telling me this. Yeah, deciding on colors is hard without a clear idea of the plot, exactly, and direction. Yes, make something pretty versus making something to drive story. Thank you. That's a very good point. And this is the final render. So this one in terms of color was the most complicated one, because what is complicated about colors? You have blue, you have orange. If they blend, you just get gray, okay, or white, okay, depending on the exposure, okay. So you want both colors to exist in your scene, okay, but you don't want them to blend too much, okay, because otherwise you just get gray and desaturated, and I don't want that. I want each color. Okay, is live stream down? Is it broken again? I saw Bintang complaining about it. Just let me know in the chat if I just keep talking or. Okay, thank you guys. I keep going. Yes, Jean-Michel, you are totally right. With all the texture and the assets, it's even harder. I totally agree with you. And if I had some time, I would love to put some colors on these guys and just to come up with some ideas and everything. Okay, but I agree with you. Right now it's just a mid-gray shader and playing with colors. But you see here, I've tried to make the blue and the orange not mix too much because I think it is interesting. Please notice I have added a rim here on the zombie. Maybe too yellow. Maybe I should have be saturated, but because I lost it between master and shot, so I've added this rim in the final part. Okay. So we're gonna go run through quickly from the render graph, because first of all I must apologize, my render graph is kind of a mess, so sorry about that. I should have done groups, but it's so basic render graph that honestly there's nothing interesting to spend time on it. So depth of field, okay, on the camera Maya camera attributes, okay. I turn off bidirectional because it's broken anyway right now and I don't need it. This is a clean of scene. I'm not able to export clean alembics, so I just clean the alembics here. Here I smooth everything, okay. I've put some glass shaders on everything that is called, this is actually interesting, everything that is called bottle, okay, or glass, okay, or pot has a glass shader on it. My naming convention is not really strong because all this geometry comes from when I was a student back in 2006. Here I put some metal shader, okay. Here I put some speck shader on the whole scene because I wanted some speck here and there. This is the zombie lighting. We've said 3 lights per character. This is the Mary lighting, 3 lights per character. This is the IES lighting for the bar. Okay, these are more IES lights for the bottles. Okay, these are a couple of volumetric lights. Okay, dramatic lighting is actually volumetric lights. Okay. SSS shader for the face, and this is the setup for the city in the back. Okay, so a couple of cubes, and I'm using here sphere lights. Okay, sphere lights to get the bokeh to mimic a street light. Okay, and this is just some optimization stuff. Okay, guys, so this is super basic stuff. Nothing fancy. No procedural, no scatter. Just some lights and make it look good. Okay. So 2 things I want to point out. I'm almost done. Thank you for being here. Volumetric asymmetry, super important in terms of look, okay? Most students or junior artists do not know about it, okay? I don't want to offend anyone, but that's reality on the ground, okay? So I really want to tell about this. What do we want in lighting, okay? We want to shape everything, okay? We never want anything flat. We like gradients. And it is the same for volumetrics. Please think about volumetrics as a great tool for the cinematographer. Okay, so this is the basic volume 2 shader asymmetry. Okay, and it's I'm going to show you what I did in the shader. Okay, this is when you play with the asymmetry. Okay, you see the difference. Okay, this is flat. This is boring. We want this, and we can even go further. Okay. So this is me playing with the asymmetry, okay? This is flat. It looks okay. Maybe I could get away with it, but I really want to push this, okay? I want to make it perfect. So yes, one step further, okay? Where is it in Guerilla? It's pretty easy. You have a volumetric shader, okay? It's right there, okay? You have 2 lobes, okay, of asymmetry. So basically, by default, it comes like this, okay? You can push it up to 99, okay? 1 it's black, so don't put 1, just put 99, okay? And if you use the asymmetry mix, okay, it's a mix between A and B. If you put 1, okay, it's only use the A, okay? So this is the most asymmetric you can get. 0.99 and 1. Okay, 1 meaning that I'm using only this lobe. Okay, if I put I'm only using the B lobe. Okay, so please, if you're into volumetric rendering, keep an eye on the asymmetry. That's really cool. Just strokes. This is default setup. A bit more asymmetry, 0.9, 0.99. Okay. Anamorphic depth of field. Okay. I love to play with depth of field in 3D to simulate real life lenses. Okay. I'm not an expert at all on this subject, but Guerilla is great at rendering 3D depth, so go for it. Go for it. Don't be afraid. You will spend more time tweaking, defocus. You will spend more time tweaking defocus in Nuke or bokeh in Nuke than doing it in Guerilla. Okay, so go for it, try for it. Okay, so here are the bokeh from the master. Okay, so this is the default option from Guerilla. It's a round bokeh, which is perfectly fine. Okay, it's really looking good. Okay, and then it's and then this is the anamorphic depth of field. Yes, I'm looking at the chat. It's funny thing, Jean-Michel. Yeah, but minuscule, but it's looking great. Don't worry about it. So yeah, this is default setup for the depth of field, round bokeh, and this is anamorphic. Okay, bokeh. I'm not saying anamorphic is better. I'm not saying this, okay? I'm saying just it's interesting because you can design your bokeh. I'm just saying this. I'm saying, okay, it's you can put a shape in it and maybe, you know, you're interesting by doing this, okay? So how does it work? Super easy. So I've done a close-up of the bottles in the back, okay? What you're seeing here is actually the shoulder of Mary and the bottle in the back. Okay, here we don't have any depth of field, okay? What do we have? We have strong specular impact on the bottle, okay? Strong specular impact. To get a bokeh, you need energy in the scene, okay? If you don't get any energy, okay, you don't get any bokeh. As simple as that, guys, okay? Nothing complicated. It is a one rule. So this gives me this, okay? By default, okay? No comp, straight from Guerilla, okay? And this is what I get by plugging a bitmap, okay, anamorphic in Guerilla. So I'll just show you how you do this. So it's pretty easy. You select the render path, okay. You go to, image sampling, bokeh, and here you plug a bokeh bitmap, okay. Super easy. And it's, you see, I have here all my, there are PNGs, okay, maybe I can use JPEGs, I probably think I could use JPEGs, I don't know why I did PNGs, I like PNGs, okay, they are like very small resolution, it's like 256 per 256, okay, so you don't need to put a 4K map in this, I don't think that you need to do so, okay, and this is how you get anamorphic look, okay. Ben, thank you. You can even get some chromatic aberration. And I think this is cool. Why do I think this is cool? Because it gets us closer. It makes us closer to chromatic aberration and real life cameras. Yes, absolutely, Jean-Michel. You're right. Stronger line on the outside, totally. And here, please pay attention, okay? I'm using, you see the map, the PNG, it's completely white. And there could be a gradient in this, okay? It could be gray with a gradient in it. We never know, okay? But it's just, I just wanted to show you the chromatic aberration. And yeah, just to show you, if you want to put a heart shape thing, you can do as well. No problem with that, okay? This is just an homage to Lego Batman because they did that on a sequence, okay? Where Bruce Wayne is falling in love with Commissioner Gordon, okay? And they use this heart-shaped bokeh. I think it was really cool. So I just wanted to show you that, yeah, we can do this in 3D in Guerilla, okay? Well, hopefully, yes, something I wanted to tell you as well. Nuke, okay? I like Nuke. I don't love it, but it's a great tool. Why do I use it? I use it mostly for one thing. It's to play with my lighting in real time, okay? So just to show you quickly, so on the left, okay? Okay, so what in reality makes a bokeh anamorphic? It's the lens of the camera, okay? I think it was very used in the 70s, okay? And if I'm correct, the first full CG movie to ever do that was WALL-E, okay? There is a very interesting documentary called The Look of WALL-E. It's on YouTube. And Roger Deakins was visual consultant on WALL-E, and he was the first one to tell Pixar, let's do anamorphic DOF. And there is a reason for that, okay? I did it because I think it's cool. Pixar did it because there is a reason, okay? The story of WALL-E, it's especially the first part, okay? It's an homage of a certain type of camera and movies, and this is why they went for the anamorphic look in the first part of WALL-E, okay? There is a documentary, and I think I link it on my website, okay? I can share you the link later if you want. It's a really cool documentary. Okay, back to Nuke. Okay, the only use for Nuke for me, okay, it's this. On the left, I have all the lights, okay, separately, okay, light path expressions, okay. On the right, this guy here, it's the beauty. If I switch from one to another, it's a perfect match, okay. Guys, it's mathematical. If it doesn't match, you're doing something wrong, okay. You don't need to overthink it. The merge node, how is it? Really easy, okay. It's a plus. Okay, you want to plus, it's an addition, okay, it's mathematical, okay, and what do you do here? Please, don't do RGBA, by default it's RGBA, no, RGB, otherwise you're just destroying the alpha, okay, you're adding alpha on top of the other and you end up with an alpha of maybe 10, okay, so two things here, the plus and the RGB, okay, and what does it do? Well, it does a very cool thing, okay, and this is how I put some colors in my stuff, okay. This is me, okay, after my shot lighting, and I want to put some colors, okay? I'm not going back to Guerrilla because I need to have like some real-time feedback with no noise at all. So I'll just go back to Nuke, I put a color corrector, and I start to play with this, okay? And remember, okay, I wanted this to be blue, so maybe, you know, sorry, I'm not on the... Well, actually, it could be this one. I don't care. Okay, and here, okay, I start to play with this. Okay, and okay, maybe this looks good. Okay, maybe it's a bit saturated. Okay, and it's yes, definitely preset template. 100% agree with you, Philippe. Thank you for telling me. But it's just so I'm gonna play with this. Okay, why is it important to play with this? Because then once I'm happy with the look, okay. Let's say I'm happy with this value. Okay, I say, yeah, it's beautiful blue, exactly what I'm looking for. What do? I put this value back in Guerrilla. And this is the tricky part. Actually, it's not tricky. It's really straightforward. But this is where most people struggle. I'm going to take this light, okay. I'm going to look at his color, okay. And what I'm going to do is like, okay, I've put 2 in the blue channel, okay. 2 in the blue channel. So it means I put 2 times. Sorry, there is a question. Doesn't take this workflow. How Guerrilla will too much time? Okay, I'll answer this question later. Sorry, I'll just keep focusing on this. It's a complicated question. You don't need unpremote in this kind of situation. You're just merging lights together, so you don't need to worry about borders. Okay, unpremote and premote, it's when you're doing like really characters over the set, and you do grading and stuff. Here I'm just plusing lights between them. No need for unpremote, no need for premote. Okay, because every time I have the full frame. Okay, inside it. Just going back to the LP, so this is my color corrector, okay? You see here the blue channel, I've put 2, okay? So if I want to match in Guerrilla, I'm not going to put 2 here. No, I'm going to multiply by 2, because here I've just double the amount of blue channel, okay guys? So here, 0.26, and this is this is correct, okay? And then you just need, okay, here I divide by 2 the green, okay, so 0.21, okay, and here it's a fifth, okay, so fifth is 0.12. This is my blue color, okay? So please remember, I don't put this value. I have to multiply so I get the correct value. Okay, guys? And this is how I work in Nuke. Okay, just to answer the previous question. Okay, how Guerrilla works way too much time, or is it optimized for animation? I do an image like the example much faster. Okay, maybe you're a genius. I don't know. It took me 2 weeks to do this image. Okay, it's okay. What I'm showing you here. Okay, you probably work faster at home, and I hope you do work faster at home. What I'm showing you here is how we work on a feature animation movie. Okay, this is how I've been working on Lego Batman. This is how we've been working on Minions, on Pets, on Playmobil. So yes, you can probably be much faster at home, of course. Okay, but when you get real production assets, okay, not the two alembics I'm showing you, when you get exactly doing hundreds of thousands of shots is another thing, okay, and Garia is good for this. And when you get assets with fur, air, displacement, scattering, procedural, displacement, it's a completely different story. So yes, I'm showing you a workflow from animation studios, okay, on a very simple scene. I don't have complex scenes on my computer anyway. Okay, guys? So I've shown you the LPE setup. I'm almost done. I think there's just 2 slides left. Render settings. So I render in adaptive since 2016 with glimpse at animal. I have used the same settings for 4 years. So really sampling is not a question for me. I don't want to think about it. I just want to put these values and to be okay with it. Okay. So samples. In this scene, I use 2048. Okay, samples. I know some artists put 10,000. It's a choice you can make. I stick to 2048. I'm pretty much happy with it. Mean samples between 8 and 42. In this scene, I used 42. No particular reason for that. Okay, it's just my template is set up this way. Threshold 0.03. Very interesting because this threshold, I've used the same threshold in 3 different studios. Okay, so it's really, I can tell this threshold is pretty good. Sometimes we go as low as 0.02, 0.015, okay guys, but 0.03 really happy, and 16 bounces, of course. Why would I put less bounces? There's no reason. So here, if I go to shading, you will see here 16 bounces, 16 bounces, 16 bounces, 16 bounces. Only the volumetric has 0 bounces. Okay, these are my settings. Render times for this, it's 3 hours. Okay, in full HD. Okay, it's a full HD render. Why is it 3 hours? Because it's a laptop. I'm rendering on an old laptop. I bought my laptop in 2015. Okay, so it's an old laptop I have at home, and it took 3 hours. I'm pretty sure on any decent machine it will take half an hour. Okay. Why should we not care about render times? Okay, just quickly. Okay. Human time is expensive. Salary is expensive. Okay. Machine time, electricity is not expensive. Okay. So maybe I'm going to spend 1 day optimizing the scene. Okay. And my salary is expensive. So it's not worth it. When the render is just going for brute force rendering, render the image maybe in 10 hours and we're good. So we should not care too much about render times, honestly, unless you're on a really tight schedule and you have a really, really tiny render farm, but that's another topic. Okay, guys? Summary. Hopefully we had fun today and we have learned some stuff, okay? Things never go according to the plan, okay? When things go south, take a break, okay? It saved my life to watch a movie thinking about something else, so, don't sweat it too much. Don't be shy to break continuity, okay? Don't be shy, that's, rule number 1. Each shot should look as good as we can, okay? And over continuity, I choose cinematography, okay? No problem for your question, guy. Just trying to answer it as best as I could. No worries. Okay, so over continuity, I choose cinematography. Okay, it's a choice I make because I want to have fun on my shots. Greetings. Thanks, mercenaries, and Brejon for the lives. Thank you, Ben, for making the best render engine in the world. I mean, at least my personal favorite. Please be safe, stay home, take care. Any questions? I'm here. I really want to apologize about the internet connection. Next time I'll try to get some fiber and have a full HD presentation. I did my best. Okay, I have to connect my laptop to my box. And by the way, this course we had today, it's the masterclass I give. Okay, it's a masterclass I give in the south of France. So if you're interested, if I can come to your school and help you, doing some nice pictures, putting ACs in the pipeline and stuff like that. Okay, so lighting Legos. There is a question from Ryan. How would you approach lighting the face of a Lego versus a real human? Okay, pretty good question. Okay, if you know Craig Welch, blog, he did a full article on the first Lego movie where he explained how they did light the faces and everything. But actually, yes, I come to ESMA Nantes. I promise you guys we should put ACs. Of course. I'm so happy to come. But yeah, so back to the Lego. A Lego face actually is not that different from a human face for one simple reason. It's round, okay? It's a round face, okay? So it's actually easy to light, okay? If Legos had a square face, oh my god, that would be, I guess, much more complicated. So since it is round, we can shape it like any human face. And you can see here, I didn't light this shot, okay? I love this shot, but I didn't light it, okay? It's you can see there is a rim light, you can see there is a wrap light, you can see there is a key light, okay? So honestly, there is no, in my opinion, such thing as lighting a Lego face, okay? Okay, is it possible to release the project so we can practice and see your lights? Okay, I'm happy to come to Roubaix because I've lived in Lille 15 years. I have studied myself in Roubaix, so I know Roubaix pretty well. Yes, I can come to Roubaix. Let's find a date, of course. Releasing the alembic and the scene. Let me think about it, okay? I'm not saying no, okay? Let me just think about it. Why not? Maybe I can put it in the Google Drive and you have a look, okay? Okay, very good question, Lucy. I'm happy to see you here. So, yes. Okay, so it's... I have 30 lights, okay? I've counted them. I have 30 lights in my scene, okay? So what's happening here is I'm not putting one light per AOV because I will end up with 30 AOVs, okay? And it's a bit too much. I don't think it's really, practical to work this way. So what did I do? We use some categories, okay? That's actually a very proper question. So let me just show you, okay? So here, for example, I'm going to take this, okay? IES, okay? I've used, a category that come, by default. It's called user one, and all my IES lights you see are going for user one, okay? User one, or user four, whatever, okay? So I put many lights in the same category, and here, for example, I'm going to select these lights just to show you here, okay? Tac, you see all these lights here, you can see they are selected because you see the gizmo here in blue, red, and green. All these lights are in the same RV because, honestly, do I really want control on each light inside this in Nuke? Nah, I can just merge them. And how do I end up? I end up with this. So we got 1, 2, 3, 6, 9 RVs. In my opinion, it's more than enough, to tweak my lighting, in Nuke. So you don't necessarily need to put one light per RV. I hope it answers your question. Okay, if there is any more question, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just go take care of my little baby. Yes. Let's go to Ireland. I would love to go there, of course. Okay, ACs change your life. Okay. Alors, this is not a topic about ACs, but I'm more than happy to answer this question. Alors, ACs, why did it change my life? Because, first of all, because I'm obsessed with color management, so this is why it changed my life. No, but seriously, okay. It changed my life because when I went to Australia, to Animal Logic, I'm really being super honest here, okay? First day at Animal Logic, I saw a render of Lego Batman on a screen. Okay, it's my first day at Animal. It's a Monday morning. I see the colors on the screen, and I honestly think I have never seen such a beautiful amount of colors. Okay, that's my first reaction when I look at the screen of my colleague. Okay, Nick Ross, and that was my first contact with ACEs. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, it's like, wow, this looks really good. Okay. And the second reason it changed my life is like when you start to learn ACEs and you start to discover it, you just realize how smart it is. And honestly, how could we have ever, been working before ACEs? No, but honestly, the whole vocabulary of ACEs, between scene referred and display referred, which is rendering space and display space. How do they, clearly split that? Okay, how do we have access to more colors? How do we have access to, a better color space for rendering? Think about this. Rendering in ACCG is not the same as rendering in linear sRGB. That's so smart to think about this. Okay, and honestly, I know some people will disagree, but the ODT, okay, which is a tone mapping, okay, of ACs, it's the best I have ever seen. I've never done a single test, okay, where a tone mapping looks, other than ACs, looks better than ACs. I've never done a single test, and I've done hundreds of tests, okay? I have thrown hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of EXRs into ACs, okay? And it's always look better in ACs, okay? Maybe the only exception is like if you've worked with a sRGB display, okay, and everything is top notch, everything, basically you should never do that, okay? You should never work with a sRGB display, but let's say you manage it somehow to make it look very good. If you put this in ACs, okay, it won't look as good, but it's because you've just worked with the sRGB display, which is really, really wrong to do that because contrast, midtones, everything's wrong in sRGB. Okay, guys? So there is a whole chapter about ACs, so I kind of explained there as well why it changed my life. Cool. Thank you. All good, guys? Okay, alors, work with just sRGB and a tone mapper before on productions? I'm sorry, guy, I don't understand your question. Did you guys work with just sRGB and tone mapper before? Okay, alors, so most studios before ACEs, yes, they just work with tone mapping. You can find plenty of them on internet, and they look good. Don't take me wrong. If you think ACEs it's a bit over-engineered and over-complicated, no problem with that. Okay, there is a very good filmic tone mapping. It's called the SPY Anim Osio config. Okay, it's available for free. It comes from Sony Pictures, and it's easier to use, and it's simpler to use, and it gives you a very, very nice filmic look. Okay. The only thing is you will be still working in the gamut sRGB, but you can go step by step. If you've been working with sRGB, okay, then maybe you can move to Sony, okay, because you will be still working in sRGB gamut, but with a tone mapping. And then once you're confident and with this workflow, maybe you can switch to another step and switch to ACEs, okay? Maybe switching from regular sRGB to ACEs, maybe it's a big step. I get that. So maybe you can have an in-between step using the Sony Pictures in tone mapping, and maybe it can be helpful. Okay. I agree 100% with you, Jean-Michel. If it's easier in ACEs, fine by me. But honestly, if you're a school and you want to use ACEs, call me. I'll come maybe 2 days. We try to set it up together, and I go home. Okay, because it's honestly it's a bit killing me. I see all these short films really looking good, technically, artistically, really looking good, but all the highlights are crushed. All the highlights are burned, and it's a bit sad, that all this amount of work, look dev, animation, modeling, is kind of being, wasted in the end, okay? Ok, alors Emmanuel, maybe it's not too late, okay? Maybe what you could try, okay, is you're probably using Nuke, right? You're probably using Nuke, so maybe you could try at the end of your Nuke tree. You could maybe put a soft tone mapping, okay? It's very easy. You use a color lookup node. It's a color lookup node in Nuke. You draw a S curve, okay, very soft in this color lookup. So you will be doing your own tone mapping, and it won't destroy your contrast because I suppose that you're happy overall with the look of your image, but it will fix the highlights, okay? Drop me an email if you want to have a look at this with me, but maybe you can just put this color lookup node at the end of the tree. It won't destroy your work, just fix the highlights, and it's already an improvement, okay? Ryan, the strength of ACs is that it's a standard. Basically, there are plenty of big gametes one can render in, but doing them outside the ecosystem is difficult and one can assume. Yes, totally agree. It's a standard and it's very interesting, especially when you're exchanging files between facilities and we all share the same gamuts and the same vocabulary, you know. And yeah, thank you for that, Ryan. Great comment. Yes, Emmanuel, be in touch. No problem, guys. Cool. I think we're done, or... Yep, I think we're done. Thank you, everyone. I'm gonna stop the streaming now.